I've had the privilege to work with some really, really high-profile people and actors, celebrities, and different people in that realm. It's a way that we're going to be able to connect some of that Chef Tim personal brand to the story of Monja and me and all things incorporated.
This episode is brought to you by 10X Nerds. If you're a business owner doing real revenue, there's a good chance you're overpaying in areas you haven't even looked at. Things like credit card processing, insurance, telecom, and more. 10X Nerds comes in, audits your expenses across 30 plus categories, and finds immediate savings. And here's the kicker. They only get paid if they save you money. It's a complete no-brainer. If you want to keep more of what you make, go check them out at 10xnerds.com. This episode is brought to you by Rakowski Law Firm. If you're a business owner or have built a level of wealth, but you don't have your estate plan dialed in, you're exposed. Rakowski Law Firm helps families and business owners protect their assets, avoid probate, and make sure everything transfers exactly how it should. This isn't just paperwork, it's a real strategy to protect your legacy. If you haven't looked at your plan in a while or don't have one, go to rakowskilawfirm.com. This episode is brought to you by my friend Silas Lagoy over at ForgeMark Wealth. If you're a high-income business owner or professional and feel like you're getting crushed by taxes, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not stuck. ForgeMark Wealth specializes in advanced legal tax strategies and wealth planning designed to help you keep more of what you make, grow it efficiently, and actually build long-term freedom, not just income. If you're making serious money but don't have a real strategy behind it yet, I highly recommend connecting with Silas and his team. What's up, everybody? This episode is sponsored by ExitWise. If you're a business owner thinking about selling your company, whether that's now or years down the road, you need to know what your business is actually worth and how to maximize that exit. That's exactly what ExitWise does. They help you prepare, position, and ultimately sell your business by assembling a world-class team of M&A experts around you, guiding you from valuation all the way through closing. If you want to know what your business is really worth and how to increase that number before you sell, go check out exitwise.com and get ahead of it. This episode is brought to you by Blue Collar Business Advisors. If you're running an HVAC, plumbing, electrical, or landscaping, or any other type of home service business and wondering where all the money is going despite growing your revenue, you need to talk to Paul Maskill. Paul has scaled and sold multiple blue-collar businesses and now helps business owners improve cash flow, profitability, and financial clarity through outsourced CFO services. His clients gain a better understanding of their numbers, build predictable profits, and create a business that supports the life they actually want. One of the things I appreciate most about Paul is he's not just a finance guy. He's been in the trenches as an owner. He understands the challenges of running blue-collar businesses because he's done it himself. If you're doing a few $1 million a year in revenue and want to stop guessing at your numbers and start building real wealth, head over to bluecollaradvisors.com. That's thebluecollaradvisors.com and schedule a discovery call with Paul and his team. Blue Collar Business Advisors, helping blue-collar business owners build financially healthy companies and achieve permanent profitability. This episode is brought to you by Corberry Digital. If you own an HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, or home service business and you're tired of wondering where your next lead is coming from, you need to check out Corberry Digital. Corberry specializes exclusively in helping home service companies dominate their local markets through SEO, Google Ads, local service ads, websites, content marketing, and lead generation systems that actually produce a measurable ROI. Their team doesn't just focus on clicks and impressions. They help contractors lower customer acquisition costs, increase qualified leads, and build a marketing engine that scales. What I like about Corberry is they understand the blue-collar space. They aren't trying to be everything to everyone. Their entire focus is helping trades businesses win in their backyard and generate more profitable jobs. If you're looking to grow your business, improve your online visibility, and build a marketing system that works, visit Corberry.com and schedule a strategy session with their team. That's Corberry.com. Tell them you heard about them on the podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Big Hitters podcast. I'm here with Tim Mitchell. Tim is the founder and CEO of Monja Catering Company. I hope I pronounced that right. Tim, thank you so much for joining the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Chase. Looking forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, I kind of wanted to start off, if you wouldn't mind sharing with our audience. So share a little bit about your story and kind of how you landed with Monja Catering Company and everything in between.
Yeah, so currently I sit pretty much at the helm of Monja Catering. I'm a hospitality CEO. We have a hospitality company that we partner with venues, partner with different clients and corporations, private individuals to host pretty much every celebration of life. We get an awesome opportunity to be involved in all the really, really fun aspects of life, whether it's on, a social side, whether it's a big anniversary or a big milestone in relationships, or, on the corporate side, corporate retreats and seminars and workshops or grand opening parties. We're doing a 45 year anniversary party for an employee coming up with one of our corporate clients, which is really awesome and unique.
Wow.
You don't really see that long a tenure at companies anymore. And so we really sit at that intersection to where we get this like privileged seat and honored seat to be able to come alongside people and celebrate wherever they're at in their life.
Wow, that's so cool. So correct me if I'm wrong, you're the founder of Monja, correct? So when
Yes,
did you
yep.
start the company? And what did kind of that process look like to get you to where you're at today? Has that been several years? I assume you've been in the industry for a while now?
Yeah, blood, sweat, and tears, and lots of years.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I say with that. And I've been a chef for a little over 25 years, and I started the
Wow.
company about 15 years ago as a chef from pretty much like home kitchen. Preceding that, we had a family restaurant called Monja, and we did that for a couple of years. It ended right around 2008 when everything else kind of came to a collapse, 2008, 2009, and we had just started figuring out what catering was. I really liked the idea of it as a chef. Was like, hey, I knew how many people I was serving, where I was going, what the menu was, how much I was going to make, and it really piqued my curiosity. And right before the restaurant closed, we had booked a couple of gigs, and I continued those gigs on after the restaurant closed just to honor those agreements, and really fell in love with just the party atmosphere and the celebratory atmosphere, and really the planning and logistics of like cooking in the middle of nowhere and bringing food from one place to the next. And I've evolved massively throughout the years, just constantly learning. I'm a lifetime student of trying to figure out the best way to do what we do, and so unlike most caterers that just cook in their restaurant or cook in their commissary and transport food in a hot box, we did it reverse. As a chef, it was like really important for me to make sure that we were cooking food on site. So we are.
Wow.
I joke with friends. They say, or people that I meet, like, "Hey, what do you do?" And I joke. I say, "I'm a mover that cooks." We bring all of our equipment on a box truck or in a trailer and unload it all and set up a restaurant literally on the lakefront or in the middle of a wheat field or on a barn or in the middle
So
of
cool.
a corporate campus. So it's been a lot of fun through the 15 years growing. And I'm not day to day in the kitchen now. I'm more, visionary management, operational. But I still hold a really close part of my heart to the culinary side because that's really where I started.
Yeah. So cool. Okay. I'm curious, Tim. We were talking a little bit offline sort of about it seems like your niche is luxury events. I could be wrong about that. Maybe give our audience just an idea. So what exactly kind of is all entailed with a luxury event? Define that for us, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, everyone comes with that. Comes to us with a variety of different budgets, and when you're first starting out in business, you're just saying yes to every single opportunity, trying to get money in the till to make it make sense and get the machine moving. But it's really taken us a good part of probably 10 years to really figure out what our stride is and where we excel the best at. And we're all about creating intentional details in what we do, and the quality of in our planning process and our production process and the execution. And so as we continued to refine those processes and continue to refine what our end product looked like, it was really clear to us that we're kind of a different duck than the standard operators. And we really started to find that divide of luxury versus kind of the mid-market or the value market caterers. And so as we define luxury, it's more upscale experiences, it's more premium menus, it's more about how you make people feel, not what you're doing for them. They walk away just saying, hey, I felt like this was the best day ever, and there's lots of joy and lots of celebration and lots of heartfelt, intentional moments. They're not saying, oh, they brought me meatballs, or, oh, I really loved that steak. Like, those are sure components of a great compliment for us, but it's really about elevating the vibe, elevating the general feeling of what we create and what we do and how we do it. We're very white glove with everything that we provide. We want to be the professional as a luxury service provider. We don't want to put any sort of burden or any sort of demand on our clients' times, because we know how important their time is and how valuable their time is. And it's nice when they put us in the driver's seat as an event planner or event producer or designer, to where we can really start to own, and encompass all of the details that we can really make sure are luxurious from beginning to end.
Yeah, that's so true. It just made me think of, have you read the book Unreasonable Hospitality by chance? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah. That, right when you were talking about that, that's my first thought. Yeah, I remember one of the stories he said, one of the 5-star fine dining restaurants, he had a guy walk in and he wanted to order a Coors Light. Well, obviously, probably a fine dining place isn't going to have Coors Light, so he sent one of his hosts from the host stand to the liquor store and brought this guy an 8-pack, over ice, and brought it right to his table. And it's those small moments, I feel like, specifically in your industry, that probably really stick with people, outside of just the meatballs are fantastic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a great book. Will has built something amazing with just that mindset, and I'm so excited that our modern iteration of hospitality is leaning into that. It's more about really looking at people with who they are, what they like, what really moves them, versus like, hey, what can we offer?
Totally.
Is really more leaning in and listening into what people are all about. And we've implemented some things based on unreasonable hospitality and giving our team some fluidity to really elevate whatever the experience they can, whether it's a chef on site that wants to create something special for the bride and groom, or do a special plated meal brought right to their table versus like a buffet. I think Will calls them legends, and it's like we encourage and inspire that, like, hey, what are the legends that you can provide? And like, being a competitive person by nature in general, like I love to see people one up each other on the team of like, I can't believe you did that. Well, I'm going to do this, and it just really creates a lot of buy-in. It's not just about event number 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's about John and Tina and their special day, and they love this, and this is how we elevated it by providing these types of experiences that really connect with not just their palate, but with their heart.
Totally. I love that. Tim, let's talk a little bit more just about some of the details within your business. So what does I guess from kind of a client portfolio standpoint, is it mostly weddings that you're catering for? Is it, anniversaries? Like, what's kind of the breakup of who you're actually putting on events for?
Yeah, I would say we're probably riding right down the middle of the line between weddings, about 50% of our revenue, and then the other 50% is split between corporate and social. And sometimes it'll flip-flop back and forth to where we have some, being in luxury, we could have a $200,000-$300,000 event pop up somewhere, and that really scales things, or imbalances things with where the revenue will plug in one way or the other. But typically that's kind of our standard fold of events that we do. And in the weddings, we classify obviously the actual wedding day, but the trend now is like wedding weekend, especially in a destination market like Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where we operate, in Spokane, Washington. A lot of people will come in over the 3 days or 4 days. They'll do a welcome party, rehearsal dinner, the actual wedding day, and then sometimes it's followed by like a post-wedding celebration, maybe a beach day or lake day, or time out on the ranch type thing. And so we're creating these weekend long engagements, which we love, and the clients love to see us back to back to back, and it's been a lot of fun creating some of those moments. But on the corporate side too, we have a lot of corporate clients that will do multi-day seminars, multi-day functions, and we cover every touch point of the hospitality, bar service and dinner service and breakout snacks and all those little types of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I imagine starting off, because of your experience being a chef, probably word of mouth in the beginning was just sort of how you were getting clients and kind of putting on events, and then is that just kind of scaled up over time? I guess, how do y'all typically find your average client?
Yeah, I mean, word of mouth, like any good restaurant, obviously there's always some sort of marketing effort, but I tell our team often, don't take the opportunity that we have right now for granted, because we're only good as we are as our last plate served.
Yeah.
And so every event that we do, whether it's 25, 50, 100, 2,000 people, every opportunity that we have to present ourselves to the general public is our opportunity to hopefully get 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 more clients out of that event. And so, catering in general is kind of a luxury thing. We're not a necessity. We're not
Sure.
critical service. And so just in the fact that we're in this segment of business, we have to not be so pompous about what we're doing. Like, we really need to understand that we really truly value every single interaction, every single guest that we serve, every single plate that we put out, because we don't know if another one's coming. And fortunately, we've been blessed to grow the business really organically, mostly through relationships. We have
so cool.
a lot of corporate clients that we've had since the very beginning, because they just love what we've done. And as their company's grown, ours has, and our capability and capacity and complexity of what we can offer has grown as well. And now makes me feel old, but now we're in a season to where I did a wedding like 12, 15 years ago, and now they're doing like, baby showers or, things that are coming like second generation of those things.
30-year anniversary, yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy
Yeah.
to think that you've been doing that for that long. But we're just grateful that we are able to build those relationships. For us in the catering world, especially in our local market, is leaning on the venues that we have relationships with. A lot of our business is referral based. We want to be the most attentive caterer in any space we're in. We want to leave it as best as we can, better than we found it in. We want to provide any sort of service that helps offset any sort of load or stress from what the host may have. And so we've really been a great partner for a lot of regional and locally based venues, and that's added a lot of momentum to what we've done. And on the same hat, on the event planner side, we have a handful of event planners that love working with us, because we bring the team and the support behind all the details. And if they have big vision that they need help executing with, a lot of planners are one-man operations, or maybe one person and an assistant for the weekend. And so we can come in and help with a lot of the heavy lifting and help kind of cover the production side with our full team that we have. So a lot of synergy, but at the end of the day, the biggest thing is the relationships.
Absolutely. And the catering industry, especially wedding, event space, relationships seem like they're everything. I don't know if I mentioned this to you, Tim. So I've helped a couple startup companies now. One of the ones I started off doing was an engagement ring company. It's actually called Faithful Platform. And so we are an online engagement ring company, but I bring that up to say that business is so detail oriented. And so I imagine catering space probably has a ton of details as well. Talk to me about maybe some of the current sticking points, struggles y'all are having, problems you're trying to solve, and then maybe share a few things that are going really well and things you feel like you're kind of hitting your stride with.
Yeah, no, we're in the detail business. I think anything in the wedding and event business, whether you're a DJ or the ring company or photographer, like the details are really what set you apart from everybody else, and how you execute those details and how you showcase those details. And so for us, that's, the more details that come, the more ambiguous our business becomes, because we don't just cook in one location and send it out and call it good. We're bringing a whole truck and vehicles full of equipment and things that are mobile and things that are loaded and offloaded. And so there's a lot of complexity with how we do it and when we do it. And, yes, we may serve a meatball. It could be cooked here. It could be cooked on location. It could be passed. It could be stationary.
Yeah.
And so every little nuance creates its own little potential bottleneck. And so we definitely leverage technology. We leverage a lot of our software stack supports the different processes. We have created over the years our own stack of internal checklists and processes, and from hooking up a vehicle to layouts to how our buffet gets set up to how our field kitchen diagrams look. When I first started the business, I was at every single event. I shopped it all, I cooked it all, I prepped it all, I did all the dishes for it, and that's only sustainable for a certain amount of volume. And as we continued to grow, I quickly learned it's all got to come out here, and I got to be able to train and raise up other leaders within our business. And so that's really my focus now, even into 15 years. We're still fine-tuning that process. I'm still getting things out of my brain and onto paper, and obviously leveraging AI as much as possible with creating some internal documents, and not just chatting through things, but even getting involved in some of the agentic AI platforms to where, hey, this is what we want, create this for me, and it just opens screens and starts doing these things. And it's kind of like, I don't know what that would have looked like years ago in our business, but I think we would be in a completely different space if we would have had those resources 5-10 years ago. It would have been like just crazy. But
or
trying to leverage technology.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
I feel like that's where a lot of people are stuck, because it is sometimes hard and kind of scary to adapt to new tech, because it's like, I don't know if this is going to work right. I'm not sure I know how to operate it. I totally understand that. Well, maybe we can talk about that a little bit as well. So one of the two current companies that I'm kind of helping run is a virtual assistant staffing company, and then we have an AI agency. So talk to me about how y'all are kind of leveraging AI. Are there any specific tools that you found to be helpful within your industry?
Yeah, so I think I might have touched base with you on this on our initial phone call as we're lining the podcast up. So Dan Martell is my business coach. I'm involved with the elite community and do weekly coaching calls with Dan. And if anyone knows Dan, he's highly involved in AI and creating his own tools. And we actually just got news that we get access to a mini Dan AI bot through his coaching.
Way.
So all of his data, all of his that's the crazy thing is, and it's something as like other founders could probably take a play out of his playbook, is like people always come to me as the one that has the answers. And yes, I have the most experience and I am the brand and all those things, but if there was a way or a tool to where I could just take all of my info and put it into something to where my team could have 24/7 access to, that would be invaluable. And Dan has literally done that with his Dan AI. And so I'm really excited to start, chatting. I already have a Dan project on my chats to be able to filter things as if it was him reading and reviewing and providing feedback to. But this is it's a whole nother way to leverage time. It's a whole nother way to work smarter and not harder. And I'm creating concepts and ideas, but actually not having to type it out and process it out and create the spreadsheets and the graphs and the charts. And just you mentioned some specifics. I mean, obviously everyone's using ChatGPT, and I think that's changing pretty quickly now with a lot of the things that are coming out. Manus has been a big one for me, just creating more of the agentic, the things that actually do the work for you, has been really great. Our company, how we host our company and our website, our platform, we have Gemini, so that's great. And I think that's one of the hard things is there's so many options, so many tools, so many things out there, and they all have kind of their specific specialty, that if you're just new to it, it almost probably seems overwhelming and a really tall mountain to climb. But the amazing thing that I found out with AI is that it is the only technology that can teach you how to use the technology the best way you can. So if you don't know how, you can ask it, to where before it's I don't know how to use a spreadsheet, and you'd have to, pull up, a help and line by line article read it or something, to where this is no, let me show you. So
Excel
that's
used to be the big
leverage.
thing, I remember.
Coding, the formulas in the spreadsheets and that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's a whole new world, but we utilize it for menus, for innovation. We use it for just copywriting. We use it for budgeting. We use it for scorecard metrics. We use it, almost literally every single day for different components. And you still have to read things. You can't just take something from AI and plug it right in and ship it. You still need to make sure that it has your voice and your narrative. And obviously, as you train it and go through it, it's much more natural sounding and more native sounding to who you are. But yeah, it's been really fun. It's really added a whole nother layer of capability to what we're able to do in a day.
So cool. I love it. Tim, talk to me. I'm always curious to know about a founder's day-to-day. I love talking to owners and founders and hearing their stories. If you don't mind sharing, so what does a typical day look like for a founder like you? I think that's a question a lot of people have, because it's like you're not, it seems like you're not in the nitty-gritty details of each day, but you're kind of the visionary high level. What does that sort of look like on just an average day?
Yeah, I'm still involved as far as some of the day-to-day aspect of the company on just high-level view of a day. It's going to look like, getting into the office in the morning. I love to greet people, so walking through, the warehouse, walking through the kitchen. I currently share sales office with two other people, and so just making those connections, I think, are always really important. And then, my day is really led and driven by calendar, and I've really learned to leverage that with capacity and what I need to work on and what needs to happen and what initiatives are in highlight or in focus. We try to keep some regular consistency for our schedules, so we do have regularly set production meetings, and I do one-on-ones with my department heads on a every other week basis. So those are different components that somewhat stay the same because we're in an event-driven business. We have events on a Tuesday, or sometimes they're on a Friday, or sometimes they're on the Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And so that's always been my challenge as a founder. Is it's not a bank job. It's not 9 to 5. We're not Monday through Friday, open to close at certain times. We're really, as I mentioned earlier, we're at that intersection of celebration for every different type of event or party. And so not that I go to every single one of those things and every one of those events, but it does change what my calendar and my cadence looks like, because if there's certain areas or involvement that I need to help polish up paperwork or get it out the door or fine tune things or make sure the billing's right or different areas, it changes my focus in the day. So that's kind of the tricky part that I found with our type of business is at different times I can get pulled in different directions. Something I'll share with you that I'm really excited about. Through Dan Martell's coaching and through being a part of the elite network and grow model, is developing a personal brand. And so the Chef Tim is my Instagram handle, which we can obviously share and highlight, but really trying to focus on creating my voice and my narrative on a personal brand that will also elevate Monja Catering, and doing that through different cooking videos, different partnership and collaboration videos, content creation, and just kind of highlighting what it looks like to be a hospitality CEO and what the day-to-day can look like every day differently, and the value that I bring to the company with some of the relationships and conversations that I have.
So cool. Tim, this has been a lot of fun. I wanted to ask a final question that I think will be fun for myself and the audience. Give us your craziest story or event that y'all have hosted or catered in the last 15 to 20 years since you started the company. It could be anything from this was a wild experience that happened to we put on a $500,000 catering on a beach. Let's hear your top story.
Oh, top story. There's a lot of them. It's kind of crazy. Like, obviously some of them we can't specifically say who they were for, or what we did. Sure. Because of NDAs and different things like that. But I would say one of the ones I'm most proud of, which I can share and highlight, and we were actually nominated for a national award. We didn't win the award, but it was really cool to be nominated because in that nominated circle of other catering companies, I got to meet some people that now are my friends and colleagues that I get to call and connect with. And we were just at a conference last week, and we always meet up every single time we see each other. And so we hosted an event for a business group called Arte Syndicate. So this is with Ed Milet and Andy Frizilla.
No
they're
way.
really big in so they're really big in like the personal
Whoa.
development space.
Okay.
Ed had a home here in Coeur d'Alene, small $28 million place on the lake.
Nothing crazy,
You know, and we had done the event a couple of times, and Arte was really growing, and he hits me back and says, hey, the event was great. We want to do it again, but we're going to go from like 60, 70 people to like 150, 180 people. And I said,
Okay.
Ed, I don't know where we're going to fit all these people. You have a big, beautiful home, but there's not anywhere we could sit everybody in one place to really accomplish this. And so we went through a few different ideas of like maybe building some decking on his beach and trying to extend some different areas of his parking or of his landscape. Just nothing was really working out. And then finally I had the idea to bring in some barges. We're a lake community, docks and mobile like waterfront construction are really big in our market. And so we found these barges that we could kind of convert into a floating dining area. And so we floated a couple barges in front of Ed Milet's house, and he hosted 180 members of Arte Syndicate. And it was one of the most like over the top like experiences, because we're created our field kitchen up in his driveway, which is like 180 steps down to the beach. It's a big property in general, but just the logistics that came through it and the challenges, but just the level we were able to execute. Everyone was high-fiving and just had a great time after the event. It was something we were really proud of as a team to be a part of. And, there's fireworks afterwards, right? Shot off right off of the lake. And it was really kind of our moment where we really decided to lean into the luxury, because it was a luxurious event and we executed it, we nailed it. And it's really just a testament of just putting the hard work in and getting to the point of being able to present an idea like that and then have somebody pay for an idea like that, and then to be able to execute at the highest level successfully. It was a really good feather in the cap. And we have a long-time relationship now with Ed and Andy and Arte, and we've done events over with them in St. Louis, and we've been asked to go to different states with them. So it's a really, really cool moment and connection. But, like we were talking about earlier, it all goes back to that relationship.
Man, that's so cool. Do you have any, I don't know if you're allowed to, do you have pictures on your Instagram of that particular party by chance? I'd love to see some views.
I think on the Monja Catering Instagram there may be some. We can always highlight that, especially when we launch the podcast clips and stuff, just for frame of reference. But do you have time for one more story?
Go ahead. Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So this kind of ties back into the personal brand. Is I met Ed while I was private chefing for another client in Coeur d'Alene. And this client in Coeur d'Alene, they live in Arizona. They host dinner parties all the time. Really nice, luxury, elevated experiences. And Ed and his wife had came in after dinner, and I didn't know who Ed was. I didn't know anything about him. And he came up to me, and this is when he was like heavy bodybuilding, lifting, like shredded. And brother, that was the best food I've ever had in my life. And we started a conversation and started talking, and through that connection of Private Chef is really what connected me to the future with him. And so I continue to do Private Chef service and continue to lean into that area, and I've had the privilege to work with some really, really high-profile people and actors, celebrities, and different people in that realm. And it's awesome. It's great, and it's a way that we're going to be able to connect some of that Chef Tim personal brand to the story of Monja and me and all things incorporated.
I love it, man. Yeah, that's definitely a good vertical for you. I feel like social media game right now is so powerful, especially for you as like the face of the company.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fun, and I enjoy it. And you get past the awkward of like worrying about being on camera and all of those types of things. And
it takes a little bit of time to get used to. Even sometimes still, I'm I don't like how I look.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome.
Well, speaking of Instagram, Tim, where can our audience find you? Where can they find Monja? Would love to try to grow your socials as much as we can.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. So, The Chef Tim is my Instagram handle, and then Monja_catering is where you can find everything catering related. Catering company. We do kind of the sizzle, the sizzle rolls and just kind of inspirational stuff and partnership stuff there. So yeah, both of those handles will direct you to things that I'm involved with.
Awesome, man. Tim, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I hope this was fun for you as well. And thank you for watching, everyone. We will see you guys next time. Thanks,
All right,
Tim.
Thanks so much, Chase. Appreciate it.